Life can change in an instant. Sometimes the smallest decisions, ones we barely think about, can lead to the biggest transformations. This is the story of a man named Daniel, and how a single dollar bet changed his entire future. Daniel had always dreamed of making something of himself. But life had other plans. At 35 years old, he was stuck in a dead-end job, barely making enough to survive. Every day felt the same. Wake up, go to work, come home exhausted, and repeat. One evening as he walked home, he stopped by a small convenience store. He reached into his pocket and pulled out his last dollar. He was hungry, but as he stood there staring at the shelves, something caught his eye, a lottery ticket. It was just $1. A tiny, almost meaningless decision. But something inside him whispered, "Take a chance." With a small chuckle, he handed the bill to the cashier. "One ticket, please." The next night, Daniel sat in his tiny apartment, the dim light flickering above him. He had almost forgotten about the ticket. With no real expectations, he grabbed it and checked the numbers. The first number matched. Then the second, then the third. His heart pounded. The fourth, the fifth, and then the final number. Daniel dropped the ticket. His hands shook. He had won, not millions, not even hundreds of thousands, but just enough to clear his debts and start fresh. Enough to invest in something new. But here's where the real story begins. Most people would take the money and move on. But Daniel saw this as a sign. He didn't waste his winnings on luxuries. Instead, he used the money to take a risk, something he had always feared. He enrolled in online courses. He started learning about business, marketing, and investments. Months turned into years. Slowly, he built something of his own, a small business, then a bigger one. His confidence grew, and so did his success. Years later, Daniel found himself back at the same convenience store, the place where it all began. He saw a young man standing at the counter, looking at a lottery ticket with hesitation. Daniel smiled, pulled out $1 and handed it to him. "Here," he said, "but don't just bet on luck, bet on yourself." Daniel's success wasn't about the lottery. It wasn't about luck. It was about what he did with his chance. Sometimes life gives you an opportunity. It might be small, it might seem insignificant, but what matters is what you do next. So tell me, when your moment comes, will you take the chance?